Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the Baseball Replay Journal. And we have another one of these wonderful 1908 games for you using NPIII, which is the APA similar game based on the old National Pastime game by Cliff Van Beek. NP3, of course, was created by Bill Staffa. The electronic version here that we're playing with is by Cyrus D'Amato, and you can see his name up here. And we're just going to go right ahead and go right forward. And first pitcher up here for the Pittsburgh Pirates, 1908 Pirates, is Beals Becker, who has a little ground ball to third base for the first out. Honus Wagner not in the starting lineup today, as you can see for the Pirates. Wagner is suspended to the start of the season in 1908. Fred Clark up next, and he has a little bouncer back to the pitcher for the second out. Tommy Leach comes up, and there's going to be a little fly ball potentially to left field. Let's see what happens with our little E, and it does end up being a fly ball to left field, and that does it for the Pirates. Up come the St. Louis Cardinals. And Red Murray starts off again by bouncing it over to the pitcher. Howie Kamnitz is one away. In my notes here for the Cardinals, as Shaw fouls that one out to third, 2 away. The notes for the Cardinals, I basically wrote down, do whatever you want with this team because of how kind of irregular usage seemed to be, at least to me, in the regular season. And the Konechi gets a little ground ball to second base, and that brings up the top of the second for the Pirates. That's the way it is sometimes with these little teams, especially with teams that didn't play quite that well, as is the case for the St. Louis Cardinals of 1908. Abaticcio is up next, and he fouls one out to third, 1 away. And up comes Charlie Starr. And Starr also, just like Abaticcio before him, hits a little foul ball. It's 2 away. And Swasina pops that one up to second base. And it's been very, very quiet here in the early going for both teams. No hits yet. Delahanty hits a little ground ball to first base, and there's 1 away. Here comes Billy Gilbert, who breaks the spell with a quick little base hit there. The first hit of the ball game. Patty O'Rourke now up with Gilbert on first base. Nobody out, one out, and we are going to bunt with him instead of just swinging away. This is not something, and he hits a little bunt over to third base. Third baseman makes the put out at first, and Gilbert moves up to second, and there are 2 outs now. Normally, most seasons I wouldn't bunt in that situation, but when you're talking about 1908, where base runners are sacred and precious, you do everything you can with them. Billy Byrne hits a little ground ball to the pitcher, and that's 3 away. Don't know if you could hear that ding or not from my headphones, but that ding is telling us that the inning's over. Interesting how these games work. Chief Wilson hits a little pop fly out to third base. You may know Owen Wilson from his triples record, but that was a couple of years after this one. Owner still to this day of most triples in a single season. George Gibson gets a little base hit, and that's the first hit of the game for the Pirates. Here comes Howie Kamnitz, and you know we're bunting here. Everybody knows we're bunting. And there's a little foul strike by Kamnitz. Boy, I tell you, there are... people on the other side of the world know that we're going to bunt in this case. There's the little ground ball to the pitchers. I forgot to put the bunt back on, but it works just the same as a bunt 2 away now for Beals Becker. Beals Becker, not really my choice for leadoff man for the Pirates, but with Honus Wagner out, we do whatever it is that we can. He hits a fly ball to left field, and that was the bottom of the third inning. Ludwig, and we'll see what happens there. Rule 35. You can see that much more clearly than I can. I have to sort of stand up a little bit, look over the edge of the box. Ludwig ends up getting a ground ball to first base, unassisted putout. Next one up is Bugs Raymond, and he gets another ground ball to first base, and that ends up being an error on Swasina, who has a horrible rating at first base. So these Pirates they do have a weakness, don't they? Murray up next, and he hits a fly ball to center field. That's not going to do anything with Bugs Raymond. And now Albert Shaw, and we'll see if there's an error on this play or not. There is not, and a little ground ball to short, and that does it for the Cardinals. Top of the 4th inning, quiet game so far, fast-moving game as Clark comes back up. Fred Clark hits a little fly ball to left field for the first out. Tommy Leach up next. That is a 2. And that's a pop fly by Leach, and that's the second one gone. And here's Abaticcio. And there's a ball to Abaticcio. And he ends up with a pop fly to the shortstop, and that does that. Bottom of the 4th inning now. This game's moving right along. What did I tell you? Once you get the pace, it really starts to fly. Konechi up, and he hits a single to center field. And now comes one of those moments again where we ask ourselves what we're going to do. I'm looking at the card for how many 31s he has. I only see 1 plus the 144, which tells me that Delahanty probably not so good for the hit and run. Let's bunt with him anyway. Even though Kenichi is slow, we worry about double plays. Bunt works. Bunt to the pitcher. He gets the put out at first base. Sorry about that. And Kenichi moves up to second. 1 away now, up for Billy Gilbert. Gilbert has a card that looks like a pitcher's hitting card. Little ground ball to first base. That does move the runner up, though. Kenichi up now to third. 2 outs here, bottom of the 4th inning, no score. And O'Rourke is a little fly ball to right field. And on we go to the top of the 5th. And Charlie Starr leading it off. He rolls a 24, and that is a strikeout. Swasina now second pitcher. And this is another one of those potential ground balls to first and ends up being an error. So changes here, see, to the 53 result, which is an error on the second baseman, as some of us know off of memory. Isn't that interesting? Now we have Owen Wilson up here with a runner on first base, 1 out. And yeah, what do? No score. We'll bunt. And what would have been a base hit ends up being just a little bunt to the first baseman. Swasina moves up to second. You take your, you pick your poison, and sometimes you choose right, sometimes you choose wrong. George Gibson with the fly ball to right, and we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Bobby Byrne gets a little single to right field, but we were a little excited about some power there as he went double column fishing, but came up a little bit empty. Ludwig up next, and he gets the base hit off of Kamnitz. Rolls that 9, and against a B pitcher is not really so much able to stop the 9, and now we're going to bunt, of course, with Raymond, and Raymond ends up striking out. Red Murray comes up next for the Cardinals, and I think we're going to let him just swing away. And he gets a little ground ball to third base. Out at first, runners move up, and now there are 2 outs. It works the same as a bunt would have worked. And Shaw walks. Kamnitz preferring to pitch to Kenichi with the bases loaded. 2 outs here, bottom of the 5th inning. And what happened? Well, let's find out. And there's a little pop fly up to the center fielder, and that ends that. And we move to the top of the 6th inning. Still no score in this game. Pirates only with 1 hit, missing the bat of Honus Wagner. Little ground ball by Kamnitz over to third base, and there's 1 away. And there's going to be a ground ball to short by Becker, 2 away. Fred Clark now. Clark gets the base hit, and then as Leach comes up to bat, steals second base to put himself in scoring position. So just like that, the Pirates here with 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning have sort of a little bit of a rally going on. Let's see if they can keep it up. And Leach strikes out, and that rally cry in the end turns out to be nothing more than a whimper. Joe Delahanty now to lead it off for the Cardinals, bottom of the 6th inning, and he hits a little weak ground ball to Kamnitz, 1 away. Billy Gilbert now. And there's a little ground ball to first base, and Swasina, despite that error earlier in the game, is able to take care of that one, 2 away. And there's a strikeout by Patsy O'Rourke, and boy, that was pretty quick, wasn't it? Top of the 7th inning. I'm telling you, with these games, with this season, with this system, you can just play and play and play and play. You can play all day. Abaticio, a little ground ball back to Raymond, 1 away. Charlie Starr walks, and then next with Swasina coming up, he makes the somewhat perhaps ill-advised decision to run to second base, and is successful at stealing on the first pitch to Swasina. Swasina here, who is going to bunt, who we would have probably bunted with anyway to try to get Starr up to third base, give Owen Wilson a chance, and the bunt is successful. The bunt does go to third, and the only play is at first base. And so Byrne makes that throw to first. Runner on third base now for the Pirates, who still only have 2 hits in the ballgame. Owen Wilson looking to hopefully try to break that spell. And he hits a ball out to Murray in right field. Murray misplays it. Wilson goes to first on the air. And just like that here on opening day, the Pirates, the road team, have a 1-0 lead. No earned runs yet for Bugs Raymond, who didn't even give up a hit in that sequence. George Gibson then grounds out to short, and just like that, we're at the bottom of the 7th inning, and Bobby Byrne is back up. Byrne gets a single over short, and then with Ludwig coming up, decides not to wait for the bunt. Instead, goes off on his own, much to the manager's chagrin, as he is thrown out attempting to steal 1 away. There's a little ground ball to third base for Ludwig, and that does it for him. Bugs Raymond up next. And that's another little ground ball there to Star at short. And just like that, the Pirates get out of that inning, out of that jam. 1-0 to score, top of the 8th inning. I can't see that at all. Camden strikes out. 31's a good roll, but not if you're the pitcher. There's a little ground ball to third base, 2 away now, and up comes Fred Clark. Clark gets a walk, draws a walk for another man on base. Bugs Raymond doing okay, trying to keep the Pirates off the base paths, but starting to fall apart here in the top of the 8th inning as he walks 2 men in a row. Clark and Leach both walk, and now that brings up Abaticio, who's hitting in that number 4 spot, again in the absence of Honus Wagner, and we will see what happens. And Abaticio hits a little fly ball to center field, and that ends that rally. And here in the bottom of the 8th inning, up comes Red Murray. Little ground ball to second base, and that's 1 away. That is a 4. And Shaw, the next batter up, walks. And now it really is time for a decision. And once again, I'm thinking, perhaps about a possible hit and run. And I'm looking at this card for Kenichi, which is the card I think I was looking at before, and I'm only seeing 131 and 144. We're just going to have him swing away and sort of hold our breath together. And Kenichi strikes out and would have been meaningless anyway. In fact, it probably would have resulted in Shaw being thrown out stealing. Either way, 2 outs now for the Cardinals. And Delahanty up, and he flies out to center field. Camden gets him, and on we move to the top of the 9th inning. Star comes up, ground ball to second base, to shortstop, 1 away. Swasina now, and he flies out to left field, and that means 2 gone. And here comes Owen Wilson, and we'll see about this potential error. I'm moving this thing all over the place, and Wilson will reach base on an error to the right fielder. He reaches second base, so that must have been a ball very poorly played by Murray there in right. And the Pirates have the opportunity perhaps to score another one here, albeit with 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. And George Gibson strikes out, and that does that. Now comes the tense moment of this game, this ball game that's barely a little bit over 10 minutes old, as the Cardinals come up here in the bottom of the 9th inning. We have Billy Gilbert leading it off. I'm starting to wonder if maybe we shouldn't look into a potential pinch hitter. We take a quick look here around the bench and see who we have. I mean, if we're looking just at raw stats, there's not much that's much better than Gilbert. The nice thing, I suppose, is that you have these second columns, but if you compare the cards closely, you'll see that, I mean, perhaps Charles might look a little bit better, but I think that we're going to wait just in case something happens. You don't want to use that pinch hitter up too early. I know from looking at box scores from this era that they likely would not have pinch hit for Gilbert here. They would probably wait. And there's a little ground ball, sort of an excuse me swing over there to the pitcher, and Gilbert's going to reach on the air by Kamnitz. Now that's a real interesting play result, isn't that? 35-22. That's not one that you see every day. And now what do we do? Now comes the question. Well, I think we bunt with O'Rourke, who probably is not going to be able to do much else for us unless he gets a fortuitous roll. He misses 2 different attempts to bunt, which means that we're going to try to swing away with him now with Gilbert up there. And he rolls a 66, and you all know what that means. 34 is the second roll. Runner to third base. Gilbert is slow. O'Rourke gets the single, and then with its Barn coming up next, manages to steal second on that next pitch. And now what do we do? Boy. I mean, I don't think that I necessarily want to walk Bobby in this case, up 1-0. But it makes kind of for an awkward situation, I think, for the Pirates, for Kamnitz, who now, by the way, is a D. We're going to keep Howie in the ball game, that's for sure. I mean, do you really load the bases and then hope for a double play and then another out? I suppose that's what we could do. Let's see if I can figure out again how to intentionally walk the batter. Yeah, so the technical rules with APA is that when you intentionally walk, you're supposed to roll the dice anyway. Yes, we do intentionally walk Bobby Byrne. And the way that it really works, so we put the infield in. We'll go up to the next card to Ludwig. The way that it's supposed to work when you play APA, the way that it was originally designed, I think probably the same is true of National Pastimes. You're supposed to roll the dice and say walk him, and then you walk him. A little bit different with the computer, of course. You don't need to say walk him, and if you're playing by yourself, you don't need to say walk him to yourself over and over again. Ludwig now, nobody out. He's going to bunt. And it's kind of good that the Cardinals have that pinch hitter in their back pocket. I'm just going to take a quick look here at Raymond and see what his card is like. Yeah, we would want to pinch hit for Raymond when the time comes. So unless they bunt into a triple play, which I don't think may even be possible with this game, St. Louis has a really good chance here. And Ludwig gets the bunt down to third base, and he scores one and gives himself up in the process. And it's a 1-1 ball game now. And here comes Bugs Raymond up to hit. And here comes a pinch hitter. And we're going to put in Chappie Charles in for him. And you kind of want to pitch to Charles here. You don't want to have to face Murray with the bases loaded. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to bunt with Charles again. And this is going to be exciting, isn't it? This is it. This is for all the marbles. This is for the ball game. The infield is in. Runners in second and third. And here comes the pitch to Charles. And that is a 15. And he beats out the infield, beats out the bunt for an infield single and scores. And that is your ball game. St. Louis comes behind in a thriller. Comes from behind in a thriller to win it 2-1, and that's it for today. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that. I enjoyed that very, very much. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed that one. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. And subscribe because we're going to have one of these games every single day for a long time in the future. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.